I can't write lyrics to that shit. Sorry, Tombstone. Welcome. This is a special Kirblog promoting a Kickstarter that just launched yesterday on the day that this is going to be coming out for a little indie game called Combat Core. It is a arena 4-player fighting game created by my new friend Micah Betts, who I'm joined by. Hello, Micah. Thank you for coming.
Hey, what's up?
And we're also joined by Mr. Rob Porter, who's the character designer, and he's also one of the co-creators of Cryamore, another successfully funded game. Hi, Rob. So
hello.
Thank you guys for coming. So I guess we're just going to take this little one today to, more or less, I wanted to promote this game. Oh, I guess maybe this is getting around somewhere, and if you don't know who I am, I'm Chris Niosi, and I, on this project, am the voiceover casting and directing person. That was in English. Good. And I got brought on board this project by Rob's recommendation. So I guess let's start from that point. So Micah, you attempted to crowdfund this game a while back, and we kind of discovered you, all of us at Nostalgico, while we were working on Cryamore, and we came to you about, like, hey, like, we want to help you out because we believe that there were a lot of really cool things about the concept, and Combat Core had a lot of potential. I actually don't even know the full story of this. So, like, how did you guys meet, and how did that kind of come about to where we are now with the current version of the game?
Yeah, I was working on this for about a year before I did the first Kickstarter. I started it in summer 2013, and it was basically after I had a job at another indie, like an actual indie game studio. It's called Rocket City Studios in Alabama. It's like the only game studio in Alabama ever. And we were working on this game called Second Chance Heroes. I was the animator there. And pretty much when we finished up that project, they laid off the whole team. And that was like my first game industry job, and I'd been trying to get one for like 10 years. So I was like, screw it, I'm going to make my own game. And I started working on Combat Core. I worked at that for about a year, did the Kickstarter, failed massively, and then I was like I had already known about Rob's stuff like years before that. Like I just like lurking, keeping up on him with deep in art and stuff, and I was a big fan already. And pretty much while the Kickstarter was winding down, I just contacted him, and I was like, yeah, I don't really have any good characters. I could use an improvement here, and Rob thought it was a good idea, and pretty much it went from there.
Yeah, I checked the game out, and it has a lot of potential. Like it can do pretty well. And I was like, yeah, let me design some characters for this and see where this takes us. And from that point on, this is where we're at now. So I designed the characters, and we're here. But I'm also not only working on character design. Like obviously, I'm still like heavily involved in Cryamore. But I'm also like assisting him in like tuning and thinking of like unique game design aspects of the game as well on the side. So that's been fun. It's been fun. I'll use quotations around fun for that.
Well, I mean, as much fun as making a game with this small of a team. I mean, I'm constantly commending, like, you guys and the Nostalgico team on Cryamore and the Black Hole guys, when it's like, man, it's like a group of like 10 people making like a full-fledged game, and this is like four people at best, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
That's just how I roll, man. I've been making games by myself since forever, and I was hoping I could just go through this whole thing without getting any help, but to get it up to this good quality, I guess I realized my weaknesses and sought some assistance.
Well, I'm curious, and by the way, those of you listening, I don't actually know all of this stuff, so I'm not like, oh, I'm bullshit. This interview. I'm genuinely learning things about Micah today.
Hey, that makes the interview really interesting.
I hope.
Yeah, I've like talked to Rob in voice chat like a total of one time. So,
welcome to the second time. Congratulations. Well, going back to, you mentioned before, I actually didn't know you were working at a studio locally, and you mentioned you were making a lot of other games before. So, like, what kind of is your? Because on this, you're doing the programming, you're doing the animation, etc. Like, what is your background in terms of like making games and everything like associated with it, whether it was your own stuff or other people's work, etc.? Like, what have you done?
Not much as far as what the internet knows. I just kind of kept to myself most of the time, just kind of working in the dark, which is kind of what I'm still doing up until this point. And I started making games when I was in like freaking middle school or something. I was using the that 2D fighting game called Mugen.
Yeah.
It's like taking that, and most people would make like character rips and like remake SNK or Capcom characters. I was like drawing my own sprites and making characters using that. I made like 6 characters with Mugen. I had an old Dragon Ball Z fan comic called Dragon Ball Legend with my own original characters, and I was making those characters into a fighting game. Then I was like 1999. 1999.
Yeah.
And pretty much after that, I started working on another game, but then I started college, and that kind of sidetracked me. I started getting into 3D stuff, and I was like, after I'll go to college, get an animation degree, and then I'll get hired by a studio. And then that didn't happen. Just went over, basically after graduated, got a couple jobs like teaching game development at like summer camps and stuff. And then nobody would hire me. I guess I wasn't. I kept studying animation, get better as an animator because I still needed work, but I could never get that entry level position. I ended up just taking a job as a like an IT guy. Like I live in a heavily like government area in Maryland, so I got a job working for the government as an IT desktop support guy for a while. But the whole time I was like, dude, I'm gonna make games eventually. I was just like working on my portfolio on the side, and eventually I got this fight where somebody I worked with one of the camps got hired at a game studio in Alabama. I live in Maryland, so Alabama's like pretty far away. So I dropped that pretty good job, went over to Alabama, worked there for a year, and then got laid off. And I was like, screw this, I want to make games. I'm going to make games. And I started on this game here. And yeah, that's me. I have a degree in animation. That's what I've been focusing on, but because I've wanted to make games, I just picked up all the other things as a necessary evil, I guess.
See, I didn't even realize that. Or maybe you might have told me and I've forgotten, but because I went to college for studying animation as well. That was my background, and I'm doing too many things. But for doing game stuff, I mean, you didn't go to DigiPen or whatever. You didn't properly study game design, but you taught everything about what was needed yourself. So did you pick up Unity and we're just all right, I'm just going to learn how to program now because that's what I need to do?
Yeah, pretty much. I went to a local school as the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, and barely learned anything there at all. I had a lot of general courses. It was intro to Maya for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, community colleges, they never teach you anything. They just...
Well, it wasn't a community college. It was an actual bachelor's degree.
Okay.
I think if you're doing art animation, I don't know if this is good to say for the kids, but don't do it for college.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest. I've probably talked about this on other career blogs before. You can, but I know so many people that are working in the industry that did not go to college. They just studied and got really good and learned what was necessary. So it's certainly not a requirement, and especially if you can't afford it, you can study on your own. And I mean, there are many people that have proven that you can make a pretty decent career and a decent living without a degree necessarily, because nobody really cares that much what your specials are.
I got too comfortable with the idea that I will learn the skills I need in school rather than just use that as a supplement to learn on top of my own studies. After I graduated, that's when I started really learning how to animate. I was looking up squash and stretch and all the actual principles of animation, submitting to animation reels and stuff, getting critiques and all that kind of stuff. And I did that for a year or two after I had graduated. So college pretty much just taught me how to use the software.
Yeah.
And as far as Unity and stuff, I still know how to program. I use a plugin called Playmaker, and I know basic C++ and all that kind of stuff, but when I saw Playmaker as one of the Unity plugins, that made it all into something I could comprehend and read and put together and use without going crazy. So I was I can do this. I can use this. I can make a whole game with this. I don't need anything else, and I just rolled with that. I tried to learn X and A when that first came out, and I
I remember that. Wow, Jesus.
Because it was it wasn't really like a game engine. It was just like a suite of tools that you could make a game with.
Yeah,
But
close enough. Dress it up
yeah.
and call. This is a game I made. I think. Right?
I got a character model inside of a camera, and then it was like set up the camera matrices with this thing, and I was like, yeah.
I think this works. Maybe can I publish this?
Part of the I was like getting a model of the screen and like doing an animation loop. I couldn't even get a character controller working.
I'll tell you this: you got farther than I did when I tried it. I just had a little red dot jumping up and down, and, going across the side-scrolling platform, and I was like, okay, enough of this.
Well, Rob, I mean, in your case, I mean, obviously, we could do a whole other Kirblog on Cryamore in particular, but I mean, in your case, you were an artist first and foremost, and then when you were like, all right, I'm going to do games now, like, I mean, you did the same thing. You picked up Unity, and you're like, all right, I got to learn how programming works because I have to be able to measure up if I'm going to work with other programmers on this.
Yeah, like long story short, like it's what it really all comes down to. It's like, you have your tools set before you, and they're laid out in front of you, and you know what you need to do, and then it's just a matter of just tackling them one by one and just getting it done.
I feel it's not uncouth for me to say, especially in the wake of all these, two Kickstarters that have also happened lately that are spiritual successors to other games in the past. We had Ukulele, which is Banjo-Kazooie, carried on, and then we have Bloodstain, which is like Castlevania Symphony of the Night, carrying on. And as a lot of the articles have been noticing, Combat Core is very much in the vein of something like Power Stone. And to me, also, it kind of reminds me of like the One Piece fighting games, like the Grand Battle games for GameCube.
Yeah.
Both of you guys, I can tell, Rob, from your art, and Micah from your choice of gameplay, that you guys love Power Stone. Where did your love from that stem from, and how did that kind of become the inspiration of like, I'm gonna do a game like this because there aren't many out there?
Yeah, that's kind of what it came down to. A lot of people say it's like a spiritual successor to Power Stone. Like, I play Power Stone, I love Power Stone, but that was just kind of like the basic template for what I was doing. It wasn't like, I'm going to make a new Power Stone. I was just like, I love fighting games. How can I make a fighting game that's not like, the other 100 fighting games out there? It's like, no one's made a Power Stone game in like 15 years. No one makes games like that. And, it was like a really good setup for the kind of thing that I like to do, because I'm like super big on like Dragon Ball Z and simplistic controls, and it's just like the perfect setup for the things I wanted to do, and just rolled with that. And people say it's like spiritual successor to Power Stone, but I took a lot of liberties with the game design. I've actually been fighting with Rob on a lot of those parts. Like at one point, Rob was really adamant about getting rid of the block mechanic, and I had to basically fight with him for like a couple hours to try to defend it.
There's a lot of persuasion going back and forth, and the block is still in. So if I say that he made it through that kind of harsh, grilling. But on my end, it's like when he approached me with the game, the concept, when I played it, I was like, yeah, this is something, because I'm a huge like Capcom nut. Like, everyone knows that about me, if you follow me closely. And like when he presented it to me and said, hey, you want to work on something like Power Stone? I was like, that really piqued my interest, because Power Stone is like one of my favorite games coming into the 21st century. I played the mess out of that game, and I always wanted to myself be a part or make a game that's like it. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna take this opportunity and just jump on him with it and see how it goes. So
I guess kind of spinning off that too, thanks to your involvement, now we have a really colorful, awesome cast of characters that have been making some waves on Tumblr, because people have been reblocking the shit out of the character artwork. So the ones that we've shown so far, we have the main 8 characters that you've designed, and there's only one of them left, I think, at the time that we're recording this, that has not been given a full character illustration. But we want to talk about some of the main casts that you have breathed life into. Yeah. So the point with the character design, Micah, he presented me with like a template, something to kind of follow. He wanted
obviously something futuristic or something that's could fit within the vein of like a futuristic sci-fi, setting. And he kind of compared it to like Dragon Ball Z. Like, what if Dragon Ball Z was in the future and stuff like that? And then I ran with I guess, the Power Stone like appeal and decided to come up with characters that almost fit that zany or that wacky, diverse roster of characters that were in Power Stone, but in that setting.
The colors definitely remind me of Power Stone, like more than anything, I would say.
Yeah, like the way I purposely like illustrate the characters, like really bold lines. Not every character have like the same face template. Like usually when I do my artwork, like you could tell like my art, because I have a general basic template for the way I do things. But like having like different eye types and stuff like that, that was something that was like really like prevalent in Power Stone designs and stuff. And even in like Dragon Ball Z and stuff, like no one really has, like you could tell the Toriyama style, but like you could tell like certain characters had different eye styles, and I think One Piece also follows that same kind of
for sure.
Yeah, One Piece is huge with that.
Yeah. So I wanted to, have something that kind of diversity with the kind of characters that I was creating instead of like a set template, like Street Fighter or something.
And of course, like a good little boy, or rather, I guess, because let's face it, you like to draw hot women. There's an equal number of guy and girl characters as it stands right now. We got 4 guys and 4 girls in the main cast.
Yeah, I kind of want to shed light on that because like there's not really a lot of like diversity going on in gaming in general, and I wanted to create a really nice array of characters that could fit all ends of the spectrum, and also when it comes to like gender, like equally gendered as well. So you have 4 characters, they're female, and then 4 are also male. So that was like my goal for creating this, rather than having like a heavy dude centric game, for the bros only and stuff. So we could get in more female gamers.
Yeah, and I mean, and also it helps that they're all of like varying body types and of varying like martial arts styles or physical activities. In some cases, like Skatey is obviously like a skater, like a pro skater kind of girl.
Yeah,
we got Poogie's a boxer. Ember's like, I guess, kind of a wrestler Amazon type girl.
Yeah, exactly. And like some of the characters, they're like callbacks to like old games. Like Skatey is obviously very. Like if her name does like tell it, like say enough, like she's really like inspired by Skates from Streets of Rage 2.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's like really subtle references. Not subtle. Some are very like in your face.
Yeah, and I just looked up Skates idle animation and just put that on Skatey.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's quite a few like references to like different characters in games.
Which is totally fine. I mean, like, look at how many references to a million different things Alex worked and Mike worked into Skullgirls.
Yeah,
with everything on that. And speaking of which, good segue. Did you like that? Yeah. We have Alex Ahad, creator and designer of these Skullgirls characters, is also assisting on, and of course we have for the Kickstarter happening right now. Is the basic fund is $30,000. And if we double that and we hit 60K, then we'll be adding in 4 more characters to the 8 that Rob has designed that are designed by Alex.
Yep.
And they are just as bizarre and unique and interesting and crazy as really any Skullgirls character could be, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. When I first started posting like the characters for the main 8, he's like, dude, what is this? He's like, I want in. And I was like, hey, man, if you want to design some characters, let me know. And he's like, yeah, of course I do. So that's how that started. So he jumped on and designed 4 characters for us.
And, yeah, that was like out of nowhere. I was like, he was like, hey, Alex Ahad wants to do characters. I was like, really? For my game? I'm like, what? That's crazy. And I was like, when he sees it, he's going to be like, what is this crap?
And the funny thing, Alex really, like, he played it and he checked it out. He thought it had potential as well. And I forgot what I was going to say. That happens a lot with me. But if you want to go to the next point, and if it comes back up, then
Okay, well, I was gonna. That's fine. I was gonna say that as someone who's gotten the chance to work with Alex. I mean, because we obviously Rob and I both worked on Skull Hurdles as well in different capacities. You know, he's also very much tapped into the indie game scene, and you know, he loves this kind of stuff. So I was actually not even that surprised to see that he was on board with helping out. And it's kind of funny, like how well your guy, like Rob, you and his styles are so different, and yet they work very well together in the same vein. Mm-hmm. You know, with I mean the unified vision of this kind of wacky DBZ meets Power Stone-esque kind of style, and kind of meeting halfway with that. It's like the characters all fit together pretty well. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I have a somewhat of a much longer relationship with Alex than Micah does. But we've always been talking, you know, off and on about stuff, and so I'm actually pretty delighted to actually work directly with him on the project.
Yeah, as opposed to, well, I mean, you know, because in my case, I was a cog in the a cog in the machine of 7 million different contract animators and cleanup artists working on Skull Girls, which was amazing. It was a great job, but you know, and I've since I moved here, I've gotten to meet Alex, and he's a wonderful guy, and
he's top-notch dude.
Really cares about this stuff. So yeah, I'm happy to have him involved. From my involvement, I guess if I'll pop in as well, what I'm always happy to do, and thankfully I also work with a whole mess of actors on the internet and off, you know, who are very much into this kind of thing also, and they're always up for helping out and doing work on smaller projects. And so when I met Micah and I was brought on board, we worked a deal out, and so we've cast the first 5 characters that Rob designed, and several of which are folks that I think you all listening out there would be familiar with. Bruiser, the hand-to-hand punk dude, is voiced by Curtis Arnott, who most people will know as Takahata 101 of TeamFourStar. He was one of the writers and main voice guys on Dragon Ball Z Abridged for TeamFourStar. And he also was just recently in Dragon Ball Xenoverse as one of the custom voices, and he's done some other indie game work as well. And he was just on a Lego project that was on Voices.com. For Poogie, is it Poogie or Puggy? I never quite...
It's short for pugilist.
So it's Poogie.
Poogie,
yeah,
okay.
It's Poogie, like pugilist. Pugilist.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have that nice.
Don't worry though. I'm sure you're not going to be the first to mispronounce all the names in this game. So
no, not when we get the announcer recorded, and it'll be like Poogie. Because Taka will also be when we get all the characters finalized. Taka will also be providing the announcer voice for the game as well. Mm-hmm. Poogie, we have Michele Knotz, who folks will know as now the longest-running voice of Jessie from Team Rocket on Pokemon, and tons of Pokemon creatures, and she was recently Alisa Boskonovich on Street Fighter Tekken, and done some other games as well, and audiobooks and things, and she's on Tome. She's wonderful and fantastic, and as soon as the game was announced, she was like, I'm changing my Facebook profile and my banner to be all Combat Core stuff forever.
Yeah, I saw that the other day. I was like, oh, these guys are loving this. And I was going through my Facebook stuff, wow, they all set up their entire Facebook profiles to be their characters and everything.
Oh, everybody's all in. They're super excited for it, yeah. We also have the Skatey, we have Brittany Lauda, who people, I guess, her main thing people probably know her for is she used to be the de facto voice of Pinkie Pie on every single My Little Pony fan cartoon in existence on the internet, and then later went on to play Pinkie Pie and a whole bunch of other MLP characters on the official Hasbro apps for the My Little Pony characters, which is awesome. And then she's also done some anime stuff. She's just did something on Pokemon recently. She was in Queen's Blade. She recently directed me on Axe Studio. She's a director as well. She's fantastic. And then we got Chris Guerrero as the voice of John Doe, the cyborg ninja dude. Chris Guerrero, he is also in TeamFourStar. He's done Dr. Gero and Cooler in the abridged version of that series. But mainly, What is amazing, he got to be the newest bad guy of the dub for One Piece over at Funimation, which is awesome. He's also in Fairy Tail and a few other things. He's awesome. And then the last one is we have Sandra Espinoza as Ember, the Amazon chick, and I've worked with her on several of the point-and-click adventure games by Dave Gilbert over at Wadget Eye Games. She was in Resonance and Primordia and a bunch of his different series. And also she, on her like Dusty Old Roses YouTube channel, she's got a lot of like TF2 mod, like she does like gender bent versions of all the TF2 characters and things like that. And she's awesome. So did I mention all of them? Some of each of 5 but I'm excited too because once we get a little further in and we determine like just how many characters are going to be in the game, based on the funding, we're going to be casting the rest of them. And Mike has been forwarding a lot of people to my inbox submitting demos.
Yeah.
You know,
ever since we started this new push or whatever, when I put up the trailer and everything, there's like a bunch of people contacting me. It's like, hey, I want to do voices. I want to do music.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, voices, talk to Chris.
Yeah.
That's a natural thing when you get like at least a really interesting game like out in the public. Everybody wants to work on it, so that's pretty natural. I think the game actually deserves that actually because it looks good. Like it looks great. So yeah.
I agree, and I guess if I haven't even outright said this, for those of you listening, obviously I'm going to have a link to the Kickstarter either in like an annotation or in the description below. But please, if you're interested and would like to check it out, please consider donating because that would be a major help to what I think is an awesome project that absolutely does. I mean, because Mike has been working his ass off on this for a long time now, and he definitely deserves to, have proper funding for doing such an awesome deal here, and something that all of you guys I think would enjoy because I've gotten to play a little bit of it, and it's pretty goddamn fun. So, and I've never even played Power Stone before, by the way. I have experience with these kind of games, sort of, but this is really my first exposure to it, and it's pretty goddamn impressive that you more or less made this game on your own, dude.
Well, thanks, I guess.
Are there any other I guess while we're kind of on this point, are there any particular things maybe you want to put out there to people who might be thinking about donating, or any particular features or things that are worth noting about, anything like that you want to say?
Not in particular. I mean, all the details are going to be on that Kickstarter page. Just getting the base goal would be a freaking dream come true for me. But there's a lot of good stuff that we have down the line.
Yeah,
and depending on how much the budget goes up, we can really push the scope of what it can be. Like when I started on it, I was just like, I'm just gonna make. I don't even think I even planned on having original characters when I started. I was like, I'm not really that great of a character design. I'm just gonna have a creative character. People can make their own. I'll have a couple templates from the things I made, and people can just run with that. And once Rob got on board, it just got so much better. And hopefully we can keep pushing that level up.
Yeah, he sees the potential. And Micah, he set such a really, it's a very modest goal, so it's not anything crazy. You can play the game already, check it out for yourself, so you can see that it's an actual physical game being made. It's not pulling anyone's legs over here.
And I mean, even just the trailer in general, I was just looking at the comments just before we recorded, and I saw the top one was I will back the shit out of this.
Oh yeah, that one's from Maximilian, dude, and
we start making those waves, and guys like Maximilian Dude and I think it's Super Best Friends found it in the first couple hours, and they're like, I want this game. I'm like, okay. So if I get a video or anything from them during the campaign, that would be awesome. But we'll see.
I guess a particular things I wanted to mention is so there depending on how much money that we were able to raise with stretch goals included as well. Online battle. Our PC and Mac release, the character creation system, which you mentioned before, 6 different arenas, possibly 8 for each of the main characters that Rob has designed based on them. Survival mode, tag mode, zone fence mode, possibly even a chibi mode for all the character models, which I forgot about that until earlier.
Yeah, that was like
hopefully
the thing that got thrown in because like I have the whole system of the characters are set up. You can like scale the way they look and everything like in engine. So it's like it's not that hard. We could just make a chibi mode. And it's like sure, let's put that in or something.
I want to see like Chibi Jondo with like the yes, nothing will stand in my way, like his giant ass head, his little what do you mean, the little cape like head thing that he's got flapping around everywhere.
Raise the voice pitch up a little bit.
and hopefully, if people are generous enough and we can really raise a lot, hopefully console release as well. Not that PC is not great. But I would love to play this system because that would be awesome.
Yeah. So as a console, I guess main, I think I would enjoy playing this more on the console. So that would be amazing to see.
Sure.
Yeah. I've been part of the PC Master Race for a while, but
well, good for you. Maybe I would.
People are like all console out.
Maybe I would
get an HDMI cable, man. Just
at my friend's house on our big TV and have a bunch of controllers in and play it that way. Maybe we want to do that. Okay.
I have 4 controllers on my PC. I can hook it up to a TV at any point and play on a TV.
You're really selling people on that 990K stretch goal there. Doing it in this. This is why I'm also I'm the self-appointed marketing person too. I think. Oh Lord. Well, I guess that's kind of pretty much everything there's to say right now. Any other like last thoughts? Any other things you guys want to throw out there, or?
Just thanks for having us here on the Kirblog. It's really been awesome working with you guys. This has gone way farther than I ever planned on going at any point. And hopefully it'll get even better in the future. So thanks so much, and hopefully see everyone at the Kickstarter.
Yeah. My similar sentiments. Everyone knows me. Like, if you follow me, or if you follow Michael or Kurt, just see if you can show some support and get this game made. Because I definitely want to I want to get it made because I want to play it like regularly. So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and on my end, I mean, of course I want to play it too, and I love the, these are the cheesiness of fighting game recordings is a favorite of mine, just because the catchphrases and the fight foley and everything. It's a blast. So I was very happy to jump on board something like this, especially after working on Skullgirls. So thank you for having me part of it, both of you guys.
No problem, man.
All right. Well, I guess that's going to wrap us up then. But thank you both for joining me. And thank you, everybody, for listening. Again, I'll have the link either. I forget if I can make an annotation in YouTube with the link to Kickstarter. I think maybe I can. So I'll probably have a link to there. And in the description as well. Follow Micah and Rob on their appropriate Twitters, MabmanZ and RobotoX, which I'll have links to as well. I guess, I'll be back to the normal Kirblog topics. I don't think I'm going to have an end title card for this video or anything, but I'll be, back to normal topics again next week. But in the meantime, do me a favor, and please consider donating if you have not already to Combat Corps on Kickstarter. Get this game made. I may be talking about the game again in the future because we're maybe talking about doing other cool things together involving the game that we can't talk about yet. But stay tuned and look to the skies because some other interesting things might be happening with the game while the Kickstarter is going on for the next month's worth of time or so. So that'll do it. Thank you all again for listening and you guys for being here, and we will see you all next time. P.S. Tombstone, I love you, but I can't write lyrics to your song. Maybe that will change. Goodbye, everybody.
Deuces.